Ben Bateman here for Red Carpet Report at the Film Independent at LACMA special screening of Preacher. About to talk to the geniuses behind the show. It's going real well. How you doing?
I'm well.
Yeah, awesome. So we've got a lot of Hitler going on right now on the show, and I hate to say it, it's funny. I mean, it's a funny take on the character.
We just thought if you're going to hell, you might as well use some of the people in hell, and he's down there. So why not get into it and kind of just look into the craziest elements of that arena, because our show can go there.
We don't get John Wayne yet, anyway, and obviously I love the John Wayne part of the comic book series. So when I saw Hitler, I was like, great, so you lose John Wayne, you add Hitler. Was that a conscious? Did you guys go over the cast of the fictional, not fictional, but the real-life characters you could use in a fictional story?
I would not say John Wayne's never going to show up. He hasn't yet.
Okay.
He could. You never know.
Sure.
There's been some nods to it, but no, he hasn't been fully integrated. But it could happen. Anything could happen.
Fair enough. I thought I had heard. I think Garth Ennis had told me he didn't think Wayne was going to show up, but that was last year. So a lot's happened in a year. And speaking of which, I know you guys had made the decision to make sort of like a prologue first season to try to really lead up to those events in Anvil. The second season, the reviews have been incredible, and people have said that it's more action-packed, and people have called it a reset button. Looking back on it, do you still feel it was a good decision to go with all the prequel?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like maybe we could have, wrapped that up around 8 and gone into like 2 crazy other things maybe, but I don't regret it at all. It was kind of how we wanted it from the beginning, which is we wanted different seasons to feel quite different. And I think the next season, people will find, is not going to feel like this season, because it's something we talked about a lot. Comics have different artists and different runs. And if you read Preacher, like some of the art makes some of the stories completely different in their tone. And so we wanted to kind of do the same thing. So we wanted the first one to be a bit more of a mystery and the second one to be more of an action-adventure, kind of like road trip, and to embrace the different places. Texas for the start, it's kind of slow and mellow, more of a Western, and then New Orleans, where it's kind of more of a crazy, hectic party.
Yeah, to that end, you guys are jumping around chronologically, obviously, from the book. And, New Orleans is a little later, but you're showing it a little earlier. And the book does feel very much segmented, right? Like you said, it's book 1, book 2, book 3. They're all different locations. So I guess what I'm wondering is, are you planning on using just about all of the source material at different times? Like, will we see most everything that we saw from the book? Or are you probably going to have to just lose some stuff because,
I mean, we'll definitely have to lose some things, but we mostly are interested in maintaining the best characters. Like, for example, with, Odin and Quincannon in the first season, we kind of didn't see how he was going to come into play with our grand strategy, but we were like, we can't not use him. It's just, why were we making Preacher if we're not using the characters? And it's what Garth pushed us from the very beginning to do, to keep the characters, keep the kind of core story, and beyond that, we can alter the universe if we have to, and if we feel like it'll make a better TV show.
In season 1, did you tell everybody, guys, you're all going to die? There's 3 of you, and everyone else, I'm sorry, you get 1 season, you're all dead.
I love this question because, yes, in the very beginning, we said, you're all dead. You're all dead. None of you are going to make it. And no, they all heard it. I wouldn't say they all knew it. They were like, cool, cool, cool. But you could tell they all were like, oh, my character's turning out well. They like me. We like each other. This shows everyone's getting along. Everyone's a great team. There's no way they're going to do it. And they started to convince themselves they could, work their way to staying alive. And we reminded them several times, you're not going to survive. And you could see them being like, yeah, but I might. And in the end, they did not.
Changing gears a little bit, last time we talked, I asked you about sequels to your films. There's such a demand for sequels to these comedies you work on. They're like these cult classic comedies now. Pineapple Express specifically is the one that I'm dying to see. Is there any chance we're going to see a Pineapple Express sequel?
I don't think so. We've flirted with the idea maybe 3 times, and we've worked on an idea, Seth and Franco, and sometimes with Judd, have worked on an idea for many, many hours over the course of a few months, and then it always kind of falls apart because it's just not good enough. It's just, if it is good enough, it'll happen one day. That is a movie that we would consider doing it with, but so far, no go.
I have to say, when I was watching the events happen this last year, Firefest, all I could think about was, when I see Seth and Evan, I need to talk to them about making this a movie, because I was just dying laughing. I mean, horrible that this happened to people in real life, because it's very painful for them, but kind of a funny premise, am I right?
Wait, have you seen the tweets between Seth and Akiva?
No.
Oh, we're totally going to do this.
You guys are making the Firefest movie.
I think so. We're trying to set a meeting next week to meet with the Lonely Island guys, and we're going to team up with them and work on it. As soon as it happened, Akiva tweeted, "This is crazy. We should probably do a movie out of it." And we responded, "Yeah, it's an outrageously crazy idea. Something like this would be cool." And they'd been flirting with this idea because they're like, they do music and they do comedy, and they'd flirted with the idea of some kind of festival. And this, I think, may have motivated us all to perhaps go for it. And they've got a pretty cool idea. We have some writers we've been discussing, so we're going to meet up and spitball. So could happen.
Are you guys going to use the real Ja Rule or cast a fake Ja Rule?
That's up to Ja Rule, isn't it?
You heard it here first. We all hope that Ja Rule is in the film. Evan, thanks so much for talking to me, man. I'm such a fan of the show, and I really appreciate it. I watched you do comic book shopping with John Snap on Collider, and I'm a big comic book fan. I love Meltdown. What other series do you love that you would consider making into a show?
Fear Agent, Saga.
Saga's great.
I mean, Sandman is like right beside Preacher for me. Like they're the two best things ever to me. I love both of them, but I just believe that Sandman should not and cannot be made right now. Technology's not quite there yet.
Are you watching American Gods?
No, but I can't wait. I love American Gods. I've read almost every single thing Neil Gaiman's ever written. I met with him once in a diner, and it was like the greatest hour of my life.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah, he's just thrilling. And I hadn't met Garth by then, so he was like the first my idol comic guy I ever met. Yeah. And it just blew my mind.
Dude, me too. At the premiere last year, I spent probably 30 minutes. I had a beer with him, and I was talking to him about how do you understand how to write American characters so well? And his answers, I was like, I'm just dying right now. I'm the biggest nerd in the world. It was the coolest thing that I've ever gotten to experience. And Steve too. I got to actually talk to him on the red carpet. It was the saddest thing in the world when I found out.
Yeah. Well, I think with Garth and with Garth and Neil, it's a weird, they're different sides of the same coin, that they're both foreigners, fascinated with America, obsessed with America, you could almost say, but they do it very differently. Their takes are totally bizarro to one another's. But yeah, American Gods is something I really want to see. It's
really good. Ricky and Ian, everybody's great in that show. Last question, have you ever read Planetary?
Yes. Seth and I love Planetary.
My favorite comic of all.
We know.
That and Preacher.
No, we loved the, what was that thing?
The Authority?
Yes, The Authority was one we really loved. I don't know if he read Planetary. I'm obsessed with Planetary.
Yeah.
I thought up until the end it was the greatest thing I'd ever read. The ending's solid, but the rest of it was
It's because he started taking 9 months between issues.
Yeah. But the first chunk of it was the best thing ever.
Because you have the Justice League and then the Kong Island stuff, and you
the one where it's 3 different Batman realities is crazy.
Story. Warren Ellis is maybe I can't say the best. He's one of my all-time favorite writers.
I got his book Crooked Little Vein or something like that, a novel he wrote. I'm gonna check that out. I've been going into all their novels. I've been reading Graveyard Book and all the old novels these guys wrote. They wrote some novels. Check them out.
You're an authentic, legitimate nerd who also produces great movies. That's awesome to hear.
I read the novelized version of the movie The Long Kiss Goodnight. That's how nerdy I am, for better or worse.
Did you see Brian Cox the whole time in your head?
I saw them all. I relived all of my favorite moments from the movie, which is awesome, and the novelization of the movie is also awesome.
I do an action movie podcast called Action Movie Anatomy every week, and we have a theory on that called Just Add Cox. And if you add Brian Cox to a movie, it instantly makes it better. We reference it every week.
I can't think of a version of anything that makes you wrong.
Right? His run from 97 to 04 is legendary.
Has he still got it?
Does he still have it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in anything in a little while, but all the Bourne movies, Long Kiss Goodnight, X-Men 2, The Ring.
Big Fish better?
I literally think anything he's in. Braveheart, Troy. You're what are you doing in Troy?
Yeah, I guess he does just make things better. I live really close to Alfred Molina, and I see him a lot, and I feel similar thing with him, where I just see him, and I'm I trust you. Trust whatever movie you're in.
We have a thing we do called RAR, Rating Above Replacement. It's like PER in sports, but it's for character actors in movies.
Nothing about sports.
It's just how good do you make the movie as a low build actor? And Molina, Brendan Gleeson, Brian Cox, those are Bill Paxton's the king of RAR. He's the all-time greatest.
They just make it solid.
Yeah, you're your fifth build, but you're the best character in Aliens, basically. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for talking to me, man. And that about wraps us up here, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We got to talk to everybody we wanted to. Please subscribe, leave your thoughts, leave your comments below. Let us know, what's your favorite episode of Preacher? What's your favorite Seth Rogen film? Check back for more videos every single week.